That's one of the benefits of YALI. We get to become leaders, we get to socialize, we get to network. Thank you so much once again, sir, for that story. Now we'll be going on to the meat of the day, the proper trainings. And we have our speakers in the house. Amarachi Igwekalu is in the house. Audrey Ofegunam is also in the house. They are going to be dissecting for us the questions that are usually asked on the application platform. And our very first speaker for that would be a development consultant and a very strong YALI RLC alumni member. Interestingly, she's also a Mandela Washington Fellow because YALI is divided into like 3 different arms. We have the YALI network, we have the YALI RLC, and the YALI Mandela Washington Fellow. So it's not only a she's also a Mandela Washington Fellow. And she would be sharing with us to give tips to get into the regional leadership center. Amarachi Igwe Kalu.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Or is it good afternoon? Can you
Good
guys hear
afternoon,
me?
good evening. It's all fine. Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, all right. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It's good to see everyone. How are we all doing?
Yeah, you're doing great.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, so I'll be going right into my presentation. I don't know, can I share my screen if you don't mind?
Yes, you can share your screen. Go ahead.
Okay, okay. Sorry, just give me a second. Let me share that. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, your
Can you
screen
see my
is
screen?
yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, it's coming up. It's coming
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Okay, so while we wait for it to come in, I'll just like to just talk to us about applications and writing applications, and it's always that thing about choosing taking an opportunity and going for it, right? Not many opportunities are out of your reach. Most times when we see these things, we think that they are we think that they are out of our reach, or it's too much, or no, I can't handle this, or we feel like it's just too much. But it isn't really. It's just an opportunity for you to put yourself out there. It's an opportunity for you to show your competencies, your skills, your experiences, an opportunity for you to bring everything that you've learned so far, and go for more, right? Sorry, I don't know what's happening with this screen. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see. We can see your
Okay.
screen.
Okay. Okay, so today what we're going to be doing, before I go into the RLC application proper, I'm going to be showing you a simple strategy for writing winning applications, right? So at the end of this session, you will understand, plan, and together we will test this strategy for winning applications, right? So, okay, so here's the deal, right? An application is an interview on paper, right? So every time you have an application, every time you're faced with an application, it is an opportunity for you to show that you are the gentleman or the lady for the job. It's a time for you. Every time you're faced with an application, you're required to do just one thing, and that is to show that you are the gentleman or the lady for the job or the lady for the opportunity, right? So three things you have to show with every application are: one, your competencies, your skills, and your experience. So every time you're faced with an application, whatever that application is, one thing you should know is that you have to show three things: your competencies, your skills, and your experience, right? So let's talk about the YALI RLC application, right? Something you need to know. I was listening to the last speaker when he was telling his story, and he was saying, "Why are they asking me all these questions? It's just for a training. What are all these questions for?" Right? So one thing you need to know about the YALI RLC application is that it's a behavioral based application, right? They are behavioral based. And what is a behavioral based application? It's simply what they are trying to know. They are just trying to get to know you better, right? They want to know because they're spending a lot of money on you. They're spending US government money, right? They're investing a whole lot. So they want to be sure that they are doing it with the right people. They want to be sure that they're selecting the right persons. And that's what behavioral based questions do, right? The whoever is asking the questions wants to learn three things about you. Now, the first thing they want to learn is how you behaved in a real world situation or in a situation at work, right? The second thing they want to learn about you is the value that you added in that situation, right? And the third thing they want to learn about you is how you interpret or define certain concepts, right? We know that, so sometimes we see questions like, a strong leader listens to their teammates, true or false? And you're like, what kind of question is this, right? What they're simply trying to do is to see how you interpret people who are strong leaders, right? How you interpret the concept of leadership. They want to know, how do you see leadership? How do you understand leadership? So those questions give them your responses to those type of questions, right? Give them an insight to the kind of person that you are, and and how you interpret those concepts. So that's why behavioral based questions like that, like the RLC, they are trying to do three things. They want to know how you have behaved before, because they believe that our attitude in previous times are very good predictors of how you will behave in the future, right? So they say, how do you know what will happen in the future? One of the ways to know how a person will behave in the future is to look at what they have done in the past, to go back to the past and look at records and look at their history and look at how they reacted in certain situations. So that's exactly what they are doing with those questions. They want to see how you have reacted in those times, because they believe that however you reacted is 100% how you're probably going to react again if you're faced with that situation. And remember that their goal with the RLC is to equip you to become better leaders, to lead, in whatever it is that you're doing, either in the civic place, in the civic space, the entrepreneurship space, or in public policy, right? So they want to equip you, and they want to know where you have been, what you've done, and how you have reacted. So when it comes to RLC, their questions are behavioral based, and they want to know how you behaved in a real situation or a situation at work. They want to know the value that you added, measurable value. Remember that, measurable value that you added to that situation, and how you interpret or define certain concepts, right? So to successfully answer behavioral questions like those of the YALI RLC, right, you need to provide concrete examples, right, or proof that you possess certain skills. Remember, I told you that whenever you're faced with an application, it is an opportunity for you to show three things: your skills, your competencies, and your experience, right? So when it comes to answering RLC questions, you want to give them examples, concrete examples or proof that you possess certain skills, right? So you want to describe a time when you displayed so and so skill, right? And as well as share examples of how you successfully handled situations at work, right? So these are two things that the RLC wants you to do. If you're answering RLC questions, you want to show concrete examples, that you possess certain skills, and you also want to show them how you've handled situations in the past. So how do you do this exactly? Right? Are you guys with me? If you're with me, please just type in the chat box, say I'm with you, so that I know that I'm not lost. Are you with me before I go further? Just say I'm with you, or something, so that we can proceed. Are you with me? All right, all right. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so how do you show that you have your skills, and how do you show previous examples of where you exhibited those skills? You use what is called the STAR approach, STAR, right? The STAR approach. Now, what is the STAR approach? The STAR approach is a structured manner of responding to questions by discussing the specific situation. Please take note of specific, right? When it comes to RLC, you want to be very specific with the situation, the task, the action and result of the situation that you're describing. Okay, so there's no generalization when it comes to answering these questions. You want to tell the exact story of what happened, right? So the STAR approach is a structured manner of responding to questions by discussing the specific situation, the task, the action, and result of the situation you are describing, right? So STAR is, just like we have seen, is an acronym for situation, acronym for task, action, and results. The S is situation, the task is the action, the T is the task, the A is the action, and the R is the result. So we're going to be looking at each one of these, right? I'll just try to explain them in detail so that you understand. Now, when it comes to the situation, right, you want to explain a specific event. Remember that they want to know the skills that you possess, right? So you want to tell them of a specific event or situation, not a generalized description, right? Specific event or situation of what you have done in the past. Now, this situation can be from a previous job, it can be from a volunteer experience, it can be from any relevant event that happened, that but was a situation that you exhibited certain skills, certain leadership skills, certain administrative skills, whatever skill it is that you're trying to show that you possess, right? Just describe the situation where you displayed that skill, right? A specific situation or event, right? Or situation, event, where you exhibited of what you have done in the past. And this situation can be from a previous job, a volunteer experience, or a relevant event, right? So we get that. That's for situation. You describe the situation that you were in, right? Now the next thing is task. In that situation, what goal were you working toward? What were you trying to achieve? What were you doing at that time? What was the task you were trying to achieve? What goal were you working towards in that situation, right? You need to describe that. It gives more context to what you're trying to do, right? So after you've described the situation, also make sure that you mention what task you were trying to achieve in that situation, right? And then you come down to the action. You will need to describe in detail the actions that you took to address that situation, right? You do this with an appropriate amount of detail, and you must keep the focus on you. Okay, so when it comes to answering RLC applications, it's not a teamwork, it's not a we thing, it's an I thing. I did this, I took these steps, the practical steps. Even if you were working in a team to achieve that goal, right? You want to outline the specific things that you as an individual did. It's not what your boss did, what your coordinator did. It's not a group thing. When it comes to actions and answering questions in RLC, the focus is on you. The focus is on you, the actions that you took, and the things that you did to achieve the task in that situation, right? And then the results, very important. The results, finally, you want to explain the outcomes or results that was generated by the action that you took. A lot of times we make this mistake and we leave out the results. So sometimes we make the mistake of talking so much about the situation, talking about the task, talking about the action, that we leave out the results that we achieved as a result of those actions, right? And that is like the most important thing, because that's the so what factor. You can call the results the AKA the so what factor. Like, so what? You did this, you did this, you did that, you did that. So what? What happened after what you did? And most times we forget this very important part of applications. You must always write the result of the actions that you took, right? So explain the outcomes or results that was generated by the action that you're taking, right? It may also be helpful to emphasize what you accomplished or what you learned, right? So even what you learned is a result. You say that as a result of what I did, I now know that research is key to designing interventions, or as a result of everything that happened, I now know that when it comes to project management, numbers are important. Do you understand? So you're outlining what happened as a result of what you did, or the lessons that you learned, or that you learned as a result of those actions. So all of that are important. Are you with me? If you're with me, please say something so I know that I'm not overwhelming you with too much information. Okay, someone says, can I explain the STAR approach again? Okay. I don't know if we have much time, but I'll just go through the STAR approach because I want you to understand it before we go to the applications again. Okay, so the STAR approach is a structured manner of responding to questions by discussing the situation, the task, the action, and result of the situation you're describing. Don't worry, when we go into answering the questions, you will understand better the STAR approach, right? So I said that the STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. And I explained it. I said the situation is you, the specific event or situation. See, when it comes to RLC, right, you would tell the story. You will say something happened in the office, this happened in the office, and I was required to do this, and this is what I did, this, that. And when you're saying the things that you did, that is where you now bring in your skills, right? You now say, I applied diplomacy and I did this, or I applied excellent interpersonal skills and I did this. So it is when you're describing this that you now show that you possess those skills, right? We'll see them as we go further. Right, so the task is what goal you were working toward. Explain what you were working towards so that they can better understand you. Action is describe the actions you took to address the situation, and then the results, what was the result of that? Don't forget to put your results whenever you finish telling your story. So what happened? So there has to be a result. Remember what we said, measurable results of what you did. So how do we use the STAR approach to answer YALI RLC application questions, right? So now you know that, I mean, from the chat, you guys are with me, so I believe that now you know. Now you know what behavioral questions in job interviews, whether it's job interviews or applications. I told you an application is an interview on paper, right? So now you know what behavioral questions are, and you know the basic concepts of the STAR method. So how do we combine these two to make you the star of the application? Remember that this is a competition, right? Thousands of people are applying for this. So you want to put your best foot forward. You want to show that you're competent. You want to show your experiences. You want to be the star, right? So how do you combine knowing that this is a behavioral question? When you know that it's a behavioral question, you know that they want to know who you are. They want to know how you have behaved in other times as as a way of predicting how you behave in the future. So with that in mind and knowing the STAR method, it helps you answer the questions that they ask you excellently, right? So before we go into RLC questions proper, I'll just give a random example, right? I don't know, do you guys have your application? It would be nice if you can open your applications too, so that we will just look at them together. It would be nice if you can open your applications so that we can look at them together. So, but this is a practical example of a behavioral based question, just like the one that you usually have in RLC. So it says, tell me about a time that you showed initiative on the job, right? So now when you see a question like this, it's not a time to talk about your family or a time to talk about what happened in the office and how there was an issue within the team. It's not a time to talk about a quarrel or something. It's a time to tell a story that shows your skill sets, your experiences, and your competency, right? So I will show you how someone answered this question when they said, tell me about a time that you showed initiative on the job. Remember that they are asking you because they want to know how you will react if this situation was presented again. Now let's look at this response, right? So there's the situation here, there's the task, there's the action, and there's the result. But remember that the whoever is reading the application doesn't know that you're using this method, but you're using it because you want to become the star, right? So this person says, last winter, I was acting as an account coordinator, supporting the account executive for a major client at an ad agency. Now, the account executive had an accident and was sidelined 3 weeks before a major campaign pitch. What has this person done? He has described a situation, right? He has described a situation. Now, the task that he was required to do was to fill in and orchestrate the presentation by coordinating the inputs of the creative and media team. So he's writing what he did, right? And the question, remember that his question was, how did you show initiative? So he's saying, I volunteered to fill in and orchestrate the presentation by coordinating the inputs of the creative and media team. So this was what was expected of him to do, and this was what he took initiative in doing. So this is the task, right? So the action, now he outlines everything that he did to achieve that. He says, I called an emergency meeting and facilitated a discussion about ad scenarios, media plans, and the roles of various team members in relation to the presentation, right? I was able to achieve a consensus on 2 priority ad concepts that we had to pitch, along with related media strategies, right? I drew up a minute-by-minute plan of how we could present the pitch. So this is this person outlining all the actions that they took, right? Now, what was the result of everything that he did? He says the client loved our plan and adopted the campaign, and I was promoted to account executive 6 months later. Now, with this very short story, to you, you might be thinking, oh, I just told stories. But in that story, he has described a situation where the question the person asked him was, you know, have you ever taken initiative? Describe a time when you took initiative. And he excellently did that by describing the situation, describing what he was required to do, and then what the actions that he took and the results that came out of it. Now, this is all that you're required to do with your RLC application. Tell a story, describe a time when you did this, describe a time when this happened, describe a time when you displayed. Okay, so when I was looking at the questions, I saw that when it came to the administrative skills, they are asking you questions, this, that, trying to get them. And then at the end, they tell us a time when you exhibited all that. Do you understand? So it's simply applying this approach. You put the situation, the tasks that you were supposed to achieve, and then outline the various actions. Always note that in those actions, this is where you display the skills. This is where you mention those skills that they are looking for, so that there's no reason why they will not accept you. This is where you mention those skills, and then you now mention a result, right? Do we understand? If you understand, please let me know. Let me know in the chat box. Are you with me? Before we go into, someone is asking, when is the application opening? Application is open. It's open. You can apply for it. Okay, do you understand? Okay, so let's go. If you have your applications, how many of us have our applications with us? If you do, let me know. Do you have it? Do you have your applications with you? Yeah, so let's go to, okay, awesome. So let's go to the administrative skills, right? Let's go. I wasn't able to put that in the slides, so we'll just look at them, look at it yourself. So this is now examples, but I'm going to be working with the RLC examples, right? So let's go to the first question on the administrative skills, right? Where it says, first of all, you need to know that this is what they use to grade you, right? These skills, they want to know your skills, right? So the first question says, I have the ability to assert ideas or opinions, knowing what to say and how to say it without damaging a relationship by causing offense. Now, what skill do you think that they're trying to get here? Can someone just tell us what skill do you think they're trying to see if you have here? What skill do you think with this question? They said, I have the skill, the ability to assert, yeah, diplomacy, yes, diplomacy, emotional intelligence, awesome. This is just what they are trying to see. Conflict resolution also comes in. Communication skills also come in, right? That's what they are looking for. They want exactly dialogue. All of them are involved in that question. So you can say, yeah, interpersonal skills too. So you can say seldom true, not true, occasionally true, very true, somewhat true. So I think your best bet is to say very true, right? Good. And you know that as you're saying very true, very true, very true, when you come to the end, you should give them a very good example of where you actually exhibited it, right? So, okay, so that's very true. Okay, now the second one is, of a truth, I enjoy responding to people's requests and concerns. Now, what skill do you think they are looking for there? Of a truth, I enjoy responding to people's requests and concerns. What skills do you think they are looking for there? What skills? People's requests and concerns. Listening skills, yeah, awesome. Listening skills is there too. Empathy, amazing. They're looking at empathy too. Yeah, they're looking at, it's also interpersonal relation skills too. So of a truth, I enjoy responding to people's requests and concerns, right? Okay, so we'll move to the third one. You guys are doing amazing. So I always make sure that we celebrate as a team when we meet milestones. So they're also checking your behavior, right? How do you react to teamwork as much as possible, always, rarely, when I feel like it, right? Exactly, teamwork. They're checking your teamwork. How do you react to, how do you work in a team, right? Are you team friendly? So I always make sure that we celebrate as a team when we meet milestones. Of course, you want to say always, right? Now, the fourth question is, of a truth, writing reports, scheduling, and working with details comes easily for me. So what skills do you think they are looking for there? Writing reports, scheduling, and working with details comes easily for me. What skills do you think they are looking for in question 4? Management also. So they're looking at your project management skills, they're looking at your reporting skills, they're looking at your evaluation skills, so how you go by your reporting skills mostly. Exactly, reporting skills. So of a truth, writing reports, scheduling, and working with details comes easily for me. Time management too is there, right? Your ability to schedule and work with details. Amazing, you guys are awesome, right? So you want to say very true in that case, right? So the fifth question is, managing people and resources is one of my strengths, right? So they're also looking for management skills here, right? Managing people and resources is one of my strengths, right? So you want to see, you want to give them a response for that, right? Is it somewhat true, occasionally true, managing people and resources, right? Is this also cuts across diplomacy, conflict resolution skills? It cuts across all of those skills, right? How are you able to manage people? How are you able to manage resources, right? Yes, human resource skills, also management skills, yes. So they're looking at that too. So you want to say very true, right? So the next question, question 6, is I am effective in developing plans for meetings and organizing activities, right? What skills are they looking for here? Effective in developing plans for meetings and organizing activities, right? So they're looking for that skill as well. Exactly. Project management, planning, awesome. So yeah, they're looking for those things. So you want to say very true, right? Okay, so question 7 is, yeah, creativity works too. At an outdoor program, where are you most likely to be found? So what skill are they looking for here? At an outdoor program, where are you most likely to be found, right? Working as the master of ceremony, overseeing all operations to ensure everything goes according to plan, working as an usher, seated at the high table at the guest speaker. What do you think they're looking for here? Right, in question 7, yeah, interpersonal skills, management skills, yeah. So they're just trying to see, where do you more exactly, leadership skills, exactly. They want to know, are you the one leading or are you the one coordinating? Yes, exactly, as in, where do you fit in, right? Are you the one in charge? Are you the one coordinating? Are you the one that's seated at the high table? Is your own to come and sit at the high table, right? Are you working as an usher? Are you overseeing all operations to ensure everything goes according to plan? So, right, the whole thing is, there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to. Uh, someone says sitting close to the food, right? So there's no right or wrong answer. The thing is just, which of these places do you fit in? You just want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward, right? So you might not want to stay seated at the high table, even if that's what you do, fine, put it in. All other your other skills will make up, for that. So you might want to go for overseeing operations, to ensure everything goes according to plan, right? You might want to go there. Working as an usher is also, as an usher, you're still coordinating. So there's no right or wrong answer really. But just go for what puts you in a good light, because you want to show yourself as the star and as someone who is a good leader and competent enough. So sitting at the high table doesn't really display any skills for you. So you might not want to go for that. Okay, right. So I am good at following up on task. I'm good at following up on tasks and issues concerning people. So do you strongly agree? Do you agree? Are you undecided? Disagree? Strongly disagree? Right? Yeah. No, the slides are not changing. I just left them here. So we are working with our applications now. We're working with our applications, right? Okay. So now we now come to the crux of the matter, right? After you told them that you are great, you've answered all those questions and you have told them that you're great at interpersonal skills, you're a very good project manager, you're this. They now said, okay, tell us, provide an example that will support the choices that you selected. Now, this is a time for you to apply the STAR approach and tell a story, right? Describe a situation where something happened, you were required to do this, these were the actions that you took, and this was the result of the actions. If you're able to use the STAR approach to tell a story, you will kill it, right? You will kill that response. And this is the particular response that they're looking for. After you've ticked all your yes, true, agree, strongly agree, now tell us of a time when you did it, right? So you tell a story. There was a time when my boss we needed to submit an application and we did not have this. So I came in. What I did was I looked at the resources that we had in the office. I said, okay, these are the best items that we can use, right? That way you're looking at your planning, you're checking, your so just describe times when you exhibited whether it is reporting skills, or whether it is project management skills, or whether it is excellence in leadership skills, or whether it is interpersonal skills or conflict resolutions. Maybe there was a time in the office, somebody from the other department came into our office and did this, and it was about to be a blow up. So what I did was I called this person and explained to this person what happened, and I called this person and explained to this person what happened, and at the end, this was what we did. We resolved the issue, and our boss came in, and we were all promoted. This is not a real story, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So look for a story, look for a time when something happens, right? And describe it, right? Okay, so we can give, there are various instances that we can give, right? So let me look for, let me see my own at one of the responses I gave to one of my applications, right? So this is not for an administrative skill though, but it was a response to some of the questions that they asked. But what you have to do is display, right, story that enables you to show your strong skills. You know the skills that you possess. You don't even have to possess all the skills that were asked there. Just pick out three and tell a story. Okay, let me stop screen sharing. Let me stop my share. So can you guys see my face now? Okay. Okay, so what I'm saying is, right, your goal is to use that star approach to tell a story where your skills are displayed, right? Whether it's your project management skills, you know, all those questions that you answered, your interpersonal. Okay, let me give you a very practical example of my own one of the responses I gave in my own time. Let me just look for it. It was just a story that actually happened, right? And for me, I thought it wasn't. I just told the story, right? And I got in. That was my MWF application. I just told the story and I got in, right? Okay, so I can't find it here. Don't worry. Let me just check for it again. So the question was about a time when, okay, so I can't find it, but let me just tell the story. So the story was about a time when you made a mistake. Describe to us. No, it wasn't making a mistake. Conflict resolution. So tell us a time. Tell us about a time when you had there was a conflict. What did you do? What were the steps you took to resolve the situation? So, men and brethren, listen to this story. And this was the actual story that I told. So it happened when we went to one of the projects that we did was constructing a healthcare center in an underserved community. So when we did that, we commissioned the community, we commissioned the facility. And one of the gifts that was given to us was a live ram. I did not come with a car. I took a bike. I did not know how to carry the ram, how to go with the ram. What am I supposed to do with the ram? Right? So I and my teammates were like, okay, what do we do? Because we came to the community on a bike, right? So we parked the car somewhere and then took a bike. So the problem was how to transport the ram that was very alive. It wasn't dead. This ram was breathing. It was alive. So we're like, how do we transport this ram to where we parked the car? So some officials from the local government area, they came with a bus. They took a different route. And so they offered to help us carry the ram, right? So they'd be fine. So we had to split ourselves. Two people took a bike back to the car. Then some others entered the bus with the officials and with the ram, right? So they took us to their headquarters. So the idea was those that went to the car would drive down to the headquarters and then we would take the ram. So on getting to the headquarters, they told us, oh, there are some youths. We can call some youths to kill the ram for you. And I was like, oh, thank you. Call them, please. So these guys came. People of God, they finished cutting the ram and they said we should pay 20,000 naira for them killing the ram and cutting it. And I'm like, 20,000 from where? All of us put together. We did not come with we didn't come with 20,000 naira. We didn't come with expecting, because we weren't anticipating that we were going to be given a ram. We didn't know how we were going to cut it. So, and you know how these people from the north can be very angry. Very, before we knew it. A great serious argument broke out that we must pay the money. We did not have the money. In fact, the guys on my team were ready to, as a shoulder to shoulder, let's do this thing here. And I was like, see, you guys, I don't have energy. It was getting into a serious conflict, right? So what I did was that I stepped in and I explained to the guys that, do you even know where we're coming from? Do you know this village? We just built a clinic for you guys, oh, and we did this, and this is what they gave to us. So this is a gift. We weren't anticipating it. They just gave it to us. So can we do this? Can we give you quarter of the money? Like, can we give you 5,000 and then give you some of the meat? Maybe you go with the leg or the hand. We'll just give you some meat. All of you can share it, and then we'll pay half of the money. And they were very excited with that, right? And they took the 5K that we had, and we gave them a reasonable amount of meat, because in the first place we didn't even know that we were going to be coming back with meat. So we gave them a reasonable amount of meat. So what happened after they took child into the head, hand, leg, this? So they even now offer to even pieces it into bite sizes, so that we don't even have to stress ourselves with doing all that again, right? So that was the result of the action. We were able to resolve that situation, and they offered to now even, so these were people that were agitating, ready to fight, now even helping us to further cut the pieces of the meat. And this was the story that I told in my Mandela Washington application. This was the story that I told, and I got in, right? Because what was I able to achieve there was diplomacy, to resolve the conflict. And I told them the different actions that I took. I employed diplomacy. I employed empathy too. Yes, I forgot to say this. So I mentioned that I understood that I told the guys that I understand your plight. I understand that you have put so much energy into cutting this meat. In fact, you did such a hard work. I really appreciate the efforts. That us not agreeing to pay 20K does not mean that we don't appreciate your hard work. It's just that we don't have the money. This was a gift that was given to us. We don't really have it, right? So I also mentioned that I applied empathy. I understood what these guys were saying. I understood them, right? You guys put in a lot of hard work into killing this meat. So I employed diplomacy, empathy, and then I made sure that we were able to arrive at a point that is comfortable for everyone. So we give them some money, and they also get to go with some meat, and we also get to go with some meat as well. You're right, and we don't have to pay that amount of money. This was a real life story, and it was what I wrote in my application when I was asked to describe a time when I was involved in a conflict. So in this story, I showed them my diplomatic skills, my empathy skills, my conflict resolution skills, the actions that I took. So yeah, so with this is how to use the STAR approach, right? The situation, the task, the action, and the result of what you did, right? So now with this, when we come to these administrative skills, now that you have showed them all those skills and you've written them out, just write out as you're answering those questions, write them out. Then you pick 2 of those skills or 3 of them and tell a story around those skills. And make sure that you always tell the result of the actions that you took. Don't forget to include the result of the actions that you took. If you include the results, then you will be the star of the application. So I see a question, please, under what section of STAR approach should we list the skills? That's in your action, the action. When you're talking about the actions that you took, that's where you now show your skills, right? So it's not that you're saying you now tell them of how you applied diplomacy, how you applied empathy, how you showed your excellent interpersonal relation skills, right? So just mention them in the story. Okay, Is this clear? Do we understand? Please let me know if you understood so far. Did you understand? Just type in the chat box. Awesome, 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 awesome. Okay, so we'll go to the next part of the application, right? The next part is the interpersonal skills, right? So it's just the same thing. It's just the same thing. The same thing. You answer those questions, right? And then when you come to the end, you tell a story, right? So this, when it comes to interpersonal skills now, the next session, they're asking you, I'm completely at ease when a conversation shifts to the topic of feelings. I often do not know when to lead and when to allow others to lead. You don't want to say that, right? You don't want to say that. So I often I cannot offend others. So when it comes to I cannot offend others, you don't want to say that you cannot offend others. It means it shows it to some extent shows superiority. It means that you don't accept when you're wrong, because there's no way you say you have not offended others. So if you say you don't offend others, it's either you have a problem with listening to criticism, or you do not listen when people tell you something. So you don't, so when you say I cannot offend others, please just say not true, because of course you can offend people. Do we understand that? Do we understand that? Are you guys with me on the interpersonal skills? So yeah, so it's the same thing. When they say, okay, so when they say to you, I am completely at ease when a conversation shifts to the topic of feelings. Now, this is emotional intelligence that they're trying to get, right? So when they say I'm completely at ease when a conversation shifts to the topic of feelings, you want to say agree or strongly agree, just something of that nature, that you're fine with it and you have the emotional intelligence to handle such conversations, right? Yeah. So the next thing is, when talking to people, I pay attention to their body language, example, facial expression, hand movements. It's still the same thing. They're trying to see your interpersonal relational skills. How do you communicate? How do you listen? How do you interact with people, right? What are your social interaction skills, right? So you want to say not true, somewhat true, very true, whichever of them applies to you, fine. So which of the following items do you strongly agree with, right? So my morals guide what I do as a leader. I do not allow groups. So remember that they are trying to get how you interpret certain concepts, right? So this is leadership, and they're trying to see how you interpret leadership. So they're saying my morals guide what I do as a leader. I do not allow group pressure to control me. My actions reflect my core values. I seek feedback as a way of understanding who I really am as a person. I am always sure of myself, right? I can list my 3 greatest weaknesses as much as possible and all that. So just tick the ones that apply to you. So someone is saying, can you tell the same story? No, 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 no. It's for everything, or different stories. You need to come up with different stories. Just remember a time, stories that strongly display each skill that they're looking for. So when it comes to administrative skills, tell a story that strongly displays that. When it comes to interpersonal skills, tell a story that strongly displays that. When it comes to each of the sessions, just tell stories that strongly display that. And they've already helped you by telling you what they're looking for. So in this sector, what they're looking for is administrative skills. In this sector, what they're looking for is interpersonal skills. So you know, right? So when I get irritated by other people's habits, I do not avoid telling them about it, right? So you think always, as much as possible. The safest answer here is as much as possible, right? Rarely, occasionally. Now I emphasize my own point. So just look at everything that is here and tell a story. At the last, when they say provide an example that will support the choices, you tell a story that supports that. Are we clear on that? Let me know if you're clear. Let me know if you're clear. Are you clear on that? Are you clear? Are you clear? Are you clear? Can we move to the next one? Okay, so we're moving to the next one is leadership profile. Now, this leadership profile is very, very important. Very important. They are also using it to decide if they are going to select you or not, right? So when it comes to tell us about yourself, right? Tell us about yourself is very important. So it's not a time to talk about how many you are in your family or talk about your skin complexion or it's not even a time to talk about your age. It's not even a time to talk about your likes and dislikes or your hobbies. No. So when it comes to tell us about yourself, you're also trying to show those three things I mentioned in the first place: your skills, your competence, and your experience. That is what you want to show there: your skills, your competence, and your experience, right? And thankfully, there's already a format for that here. So they've shown us a format that we can use. So you say Amarachi has over 4 years experience in what field? Is it in the medical field, in the health sector, in the development sector? Where do you have experience? Remember that you can have experience in so many different fields, but pick the one that speaks more to this application, that gives your application more credibility, right? So you check out has experience in what field: development field, health field, whatever it is. And you say, I am currently, what are you? Are you the founder of your organization? Are you the head project manager? What are you? So, right, you say, I have skill, I have an experience in this sector. I am currently the this of this, right, of so organization. So even if you're not the founder of the organization, whatever it is that you're doing in the organization where you work, that serves what you're talking about in your application too, right? You say that, right? And then you say, where I focus on doing this, what does your organization do? So this format is in your application. So you just follow that and say, where I focus on this, that, and then describe other experiences. I focus on this and also this, that, right? Just follow that. You now go ahead and say, I hold a bachelor's or master's degree in so stuff as a this, and I am committed to. So what is it that you do, right? So for me, I work in the infant health and development sector. So I say I am committed to saving newborn lives. I am committed. It's always good. See this last line, yeah. Add a bit of the sustainable development goals. So whatever it is that you're doing, you should be able to find that thing on the sustainable development goals. So use the sentence, use the words that they use in the SDGs, right? So for me, what I do falls into SDG 3, promoting health and well-being. So when I come to this, I want to say I am passionately driven and committed to promoting the health and well-being of infants. So make sure that it has a touch of the language that they use in the SDGs. Do you understand? When you come to what you're passionately committed to, what's your motivation, what's your drive? Is this like the crux of it? Like, what is your drive? What are you committed to doing? So make sure that you use those words that they use in the SDGs. Use it there. Put it there for them, right? It will give your stuff some credibility. And then describe your reason for choosing your field or interest. So you say, I am SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. Don't worry, I'll come to your questions. SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, right? So you say, I am passionately driven to doing this to, you now describe your reasons for choosing your field of interest. So I say, I am passionately driven to, promoting the health and well-being of infants, right? So that I can provide them an opportunity to grow and develop, or I can provide them an enriched environment that promotes health and well. So you just want to describe why you do that thing that you're doing. Thank you, Joshua. So you just want to describe why you're doing that thing that you're doing, right? And then why you're doing and why you chose that field of interest. And then you say, upon completion of the YALI program, I, Amarachi, plan to do this, that. So a good way to do that is just say that you plan to continue doing what you were doing, but maybe in a just add some other things that you might want to say. Maybe upon completion of the RLC, I plan to go further and train more health workers. I plan to go further and equip more health workers on how to do this. Or I plan just list some things that is still in line with what you do, right? Is this clear? So I'll see, please, ma, for serving in student bodies as students, what do we use as field of experience? I think you should use your course of study, whatever it is that you're studying. If you have done some things in that area, right, you can use that. You can use that and say, what you're doing in that area. Can you say experience in volunteering? So you say, yes, I have 6 years experience in volunteering, right? Volunteering is a field, right? So you can say, I have so experience in volunteering. I volunteer for so foundation where I help them do this, that. List out the things that you help them do. Remember that when you're listing them out, use SDG languages, right? Just use those things so that it boosts your application very well. So I volunteer for so foundation where I help them, where I serve as a project manager, and I help them design and implement solutions. I help them plan their outreaches, or I help them plan their events. Just make sure that you're saying something really solid that you're doing for the organization, right? So that's in volunteering. Volunteering is a very strong way of applying too, right? So okay, are we good? So the next thing is motivation. So what do you intend to do with this opportunity? So are we okay? Do we understand the profile about you? Do we understand the profile? Just let me know if you understand the profiles. The profiles, do you understand? Okay, awesome. Awesome. So what's your motivation? Your motivation is what do you intend to do with this opportunity? So we ask that you write a motivation no longer than 200 words. The application uses the average word length of, okay, so no longer than 2. So why should you be selected? This is the crux of the matter. And I also encourage you to use the STAR approach. But in this case now, you're looking at the overall what you do. Why should you be selected? So why should I be selected? As a change leader, as a passionate change maker who is passionate about this, I believe that acquiring attending the training will afford me the opportunity to acquire certain skills, or to strengthen my personal leadership, or to sharpen my skills, right? Just show how attending such a training will improve on what you're already doing. Do you understand? Why should you be selected? Don't even try to play small here. Describe yourself very well as an excellent, passionate change maker that I am, or as a leader with so number of experience, or as a person who is passionately driven to doing this and already doing this, that. Mention what you're doing. Just bring everything and try to put it in that 200 words. Who is or you can say, as a change maker who is passionate about this and contributing to the goal 3 of the sustainable development goals, which is promoting health and well-being of babies. I believe that attending this training will accord me the opportunity to sharpen my skills, sharpen my self-leadership skills, also network with other passionate, excellent change makers like myself, according us the opportunity to carry out formidable projects. Bring in everything that you can speak in this case, and tell them why you should be selected. Make sure to mention skills here and there. Make sure to link it to the sustainable development goal that you're solving. So say, as a passionate change maker who is committed to saving newborn lives, who is committed to ending preventable newborn deaths and working on promoting health and well-being of infants, I believe that attending, just take it from there. I believe that this training will be an excellent opportunity for me to sharpen my skills and to also network with other change makers like myself and carry out projects that will contribute to national development. Do you understand that? Is that clear? So also add like the bigger picture, how what you're doing is contributing to national development. Don't just talk about what you're doing, but how is it contributing, right, to the big picture, to national development, to solving, like what I do, I can say I'm contributing to solving infant mortality, reducing the high rates of infant mortality. So make sure that you're touching on the big picture, the skills that you have, and why you should be selected. Also, the networking opportunity that this program affords you as well, right? Okay, so what else? Which of these areas do you think you need help? Okay, so so you just tick that. Okay. What else? What else? Okay, yeah, so let's go to the YALI program. Am I still on time or should I round up? Yeah, I think so far you get the gist, right? You get the whole concept. It's just simply pick out those skills and then tell a story that describes them. Yeah, so I think um at this point, okay, let me see what. Okay, yeah, the other one is just yearly programs, civic leadership, entrepreneurship, business, right? So just tell them about that. So please, in one word, tell me, how was this session for you? How was it for you? Did you understand it? Did you get how was it for you? All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so over to you, Mayokun. I think I'm done here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amarachi, for this session. I can see the compliments coming in, amazing, awesome, insightful, all manner of wonderful compliments, detailed, educating, exciting, and so on. Thank you so much. I believe that our guests, our participants today have learned a lot from you, and even myself, I've learned so much because whether we like it or not, we have to keep applying for stuff, from time to time. And so, thank you so much. We really appreciate this session, and we appreciate if you can just hang on the call for a few more minutes so that we can still come back and take some questions.